the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AVWeek, episode 146, recorded Friday, June 6th, 2014. The Incredible Shrinking Panel. AVWeek is brought to you by Middle Atlantic Products, who invite you to stop by their new customer-focused website, Middle Atlantic Products, what great systems are built on.
Ready.
AVWeek.
Performing scan.
Week.
Online.
This is AVWeek. This is AVWeek, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. Hello, my name is Tom Albright. I'm your host. With us this week, Mr. HiFi, Phil Cordell from M3 Technology Group. How are you, sir?
Great, Tim. Thanks for having me as always.
Absolutely. And also with us is Mr. Harry Meade. If you're on Twitter, he's Mr. AV Don, and we'll explain what that means in a second. How are you, sir?
I am very good on this nice, warm, semi-summer day.
It is kind of warm, isn't it? Harry is from CCS Mid-Atlantic. All of our podcasts are, of course, brought to you by the fine folks at Middle Atlantic Products. They have some really cool things that we'll talk to you about in a second. They have a new, they have an addition to their credenza line, and they have gotten into the display solution game. So we'll talk about that. Middle Atlantic Products, of course. What great systems are built upon. Gentlemen, as we are about sitting here on the 6th of June, 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks, or a little bit more than 2 weeks away from InfoComm 2014. A couple weeks ago, big news was the fact that AMX was getting bought by a little company called Harman, right? And you know, that was some hubbub about that. Well, another acquisition of sorts, Kramer. This is from our buddies over at AV Network, AVNetwork.com. Kramer is acquiring 50% of WowVision. Now, if you're not familiar with what WowVision is, WowVision, they've got a lot of wireless products. They've got two-way collaboration products. They do a lot of stuff in the conferencing, and a lot of boardrooms have got WowVision. So, another acquisition. Actually, Leonard Susskind wrote a blog post about, I think he called it the summer of acquisitions. So, Harry, we'll start with you on this. And what does this mean? The fact that Kramer has purchased half of WowVision, does it mean that they're trying to concentrate more on that pro market, or what is it?
I think it means that Kramer sees a little bit more of the writing on the wall, that collaboration is where it's at. It's what I'm going to InfoComm for.
Is for collaboration?
Yeah, it's whether it's workspace collaboration or just people being able to talk to each other, and get things done more speedily. I think that it fits in well with their product line because they've already got the processing on the front end. So now they can have processing, WowVision, WowVision processing. Yeah. So now they've got everything covered pretty much from in between the source and the display. So it actually, I think it rounds things out for them, and I think it's, like I say, I think it's a signal of what's going to be coming forward.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Cordell, what do you think is Kramer's thinking behind this move?
Yeah, I think much as Harry shared, I mean the wireless technology boom is in full swing right now, and everybody's looking for the best way to incorporate that collaboration, and the fact that nobody has completely nailed it yet, and that, I mean, in my eyes anyway, and that it's still a pretty wide open space right now. You've got a lot of competitive products all kind of grappling to get into that same space. Until there's a clear victor, I don't see why people wouldn't get in there, punch their lottery ticket and hope that they're the ones that come away victorious.
Okay, so good question here then Phil. If you were either starting your own company or taking over an existing one, how would you nail it? I mean, what is your definition of nailing it?
Well, I think the issue that everybody keeps running into is the licensing of Apple products into the wireless spectrum. Obviously I'm a fan of AirPlay because it works well, it does what I need it to do. But then when people with an Android come in, they're not going to get the same love. I do know that the Christie Brio product has paid the money. Christie paid the money, and they've got a pretty sleek way of integrating all the different platforms. But I don't know. I guess I would, if I was buying a company, I would go ahead, pay the money, make sure we had everybody covered, and look for a seamless way to get them, incorporated into the meeting, maybe without having to download an app. I mean, I've played with a lot of that stuff out there now. The Solstice, immersive Solstice product, and a lot of them do a lot of really cool stuff. But my issue with immersive, or with the Solstice product in particular, is that I'm not an IT guy. I would prefer not to take control of your PC, of that hardware. I don't want that responsibility, and that's essentially what I would be selling them is a software, and that opens up a whole other can of worms that as an AV integrator I'm not super comfortable getting into,
Well, and then let's define here, because you said make sure that everybody's covered. Does this also mean Microsoft? Making sure that the Surface or the Microsoft phone is covered too?
Ultimately, absolutely. We've got a programmer here that programs AMX, Crestron, Biamp, does all of his programming now on a Surface Pro, and barely ever has to break out his laptop.
I'm sorry, he does his programming on a Surface?
On a Surface Pro. It's the Pro. Just any old Surface wouldn't do it. RT wouldn't cut it, okay? But the Surface Pro, man, I mean, it's got the horsepower necessary to run the software programs that our industry uses, and it does. It knocks everybody's socks off when he just walks in, programs the room, tunes the room, does the whole thing from his tablet.
Let me understand. So how long does it take Simple Windows to start on that Surface Pro? Like 2 hours?
No, 2 to 3 years. We're still waiting for that to. No, I'm kidding.
For those of you who have never tried to open Simple Windows, and this is no slight against our buddies over at Crestron,
no,
they'll even admit the fact that it takes a long time for that stuff to open. So
optimizing database.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Harry nailed it.
Harry nailed it. All right, Harry. So you're going to start your own company just alongside Phil. How would you nail this space?
It's. I was gonna say he said most of what I was gonna say.
Well, that's fine. That's a good answer. What he said. Just don't say ditto. That's somebody else.
But yeah, I would. I would keep it network based. I'd keep off of everybody's individual units. If we're gonna do collaboration, I mean, you need to be able to. Everybody needs to be able to get in no matter what. I mean, it's kind of along the same lines as I know you guys have had Google Hangout meetings of AVNation board people with Dawn with her phone in the windshield.
Yep. We do not recommend that, by the way. Safety reasons.
She wasn't looking at it.
Well, no.
But it was looking at her.
Yes.
And she was listening to it because it Bluetooths into the radio of the truck that I'm currently driving, because since AV Dawn and AV Mother-in-Law are in Vermont. And so you need to be able to get to all those devices, and the easiest way to do that is non-software based. Put it on the internet. Be able to connect, use this big network that we have built already, and do it that way. And what the Kramer parts do is get you to that point in a more corporate environment where you need more things. You need to integrate more computer type things or displays and all that other thing, as opposed to using a Surface or using your phone or something like that.
Well,
but I imagine we're all going to be on something Surface-like.
Well,
and maybe there'll be a Surface with a dock that you can throw into your desktop here, like I throw my laptop into my dock all the time.
Well, and I would always contended that, because we use Google Hangouts for the video portion of our program, and also honestly for the audio portion. But I've got a PC that runs. I use Audition for my audio editing, and I use Premiere Pro for video editing, and I'd always contended that I'm always going to need those big towers. But listening to Phil and listening to Harry, it doesn't sound like, those are even long for this world. Because if I can, honestly, folks, if I can program, DSP and control programs using a tablet, albeit a very powerful tablet, but still a tablet nonetheless, that sounds like, our towers really are going away.
Why would you lug a laptop like I did today out on a service call? I was doing the DSP for a Crown amp today.
Because they're gorgeous. I have a 17-inch, Harry. I mean, come on. I'm over the hill now. I need a big monitor to see.
That's what she said.
All right. Moving on. We're all gearing up for Vegas. Is that just all we're doing right now? This week, some people that was tweeting me and emailing me this week. Are you going to start with Apple? No. Second story though, Apple and the WWDC, which means what would Don Caper do? I don't know.
What would Don code?
Yeah, it's the Worldwide Developer Conference for Apple, and they said a word this week that threw fear and trembling into an awful lot of at least residential automation folks' homes, and some people got really excited. And that word is HomeKit. That is right. Apple is trying to get into your houses, folks. Not a bad thing, not a good thing. I mean, I've got my own opinions on this, but we'll kick it off with you guys. I know that Phil, you're a big i guy, you're a big iOS guy. What did you think of Apple's announcement that they were, they want to control the house just like Nest and everybody else is trying to do?
I didn't find it surprising, ultimately. I do. I dig the iOS ecosphere. But, for what I do in my day job of pro installation stuff, commercial installation, I still don't see a ton of it. Again, I think they nailed it with AirPlay, but I don't really. I understand what you said about, people in the home industry probably don't really welcome that news, and I don't blame them, because I don't really want to see them in that space either. What they do in terms of price fixing of their own products and things of that nature would make it very difficult to make the kind of margins that we like to make when we can. But I didn't really see anything in that announcement that rocked me. I wasn't really shocked. It wasn't shocking off. I was like, okay, so maybe this will happen, maybe it won't. I think if they really wanted to get into the space, they would buy Crestron. I mean, that would be something pretty big and really shake it up.
They could buy, AMX. Oh wait,
yeah,
not anymore. Look,
they could buy Harman, which in my turns would buy AMX. One interesting tweet I think what was this I found interesting this week was Apple is going to control your home with the one piece of equipment that people have been trying to control for years, and that's the Apple TV. So, trying to integrate it. Harry, what do you say about the Apple announcement this week that they're trying to do home automation, basically?
What, looking for the message from Androidlandia over here?
Hey, you know what? I've got my Galaxy S4 right here, brother. In my nice little freaking big OtterBox. Because I was tired of having it replaced.
Yeah.
I dropped it too many times.
My insurance actually canceled me because I had 2 claims within a year.
How many claims?
That would be 2 for shattered fronts on my Droid DNA. Anyway, so my phone bill goes down $5 a month. Anyway, it was funny because I actually kind of predicted something like this, and where I think that it will go eventually is I think that a company like Apple or Microsoft could unite the protocols in a way that just an AMX or a Crestron just doesn't have enough 800-pound gorilla-ness to do. Because if Apple suddenly gets into it where they're IP controlling everything and they say, well, these are the control strings that we're going to be using, make it work.
Okay.
They have the power to be able to do that, and people are going to jump on that in the home market. And once it happens in the home market, what do you think they're going to want to do in the professional market?
Absolutely.
You already have people who want to bring their phones in and put what's on their phone up on the screen. You already have. I can control all this stuff. I can look in my house from a webcam and see exactly what's going on in my house. I can lock the doors. I can do all this stuff. What do you mean it's going to take $15,000 worth of AMX to get that done here at the office? So it's coming, and it's one of these guys is going to really break the market open, and control system companies that are focused on control systems are going to have a difficult time of it.
Okay, so we're sitting here in 2014. How many years though until that happens? Because this is something that we've been talking about for several years, about the commoditization of this and the commoditization of that. Because that's kind of what you're talking about, taking something that's inherently a pro product, whether you put it in a house or in a boardroom. Doing a control system is inherently a professional product. How many years then until that happens? Is it going to be an acquisition like Phil said? Apple or Microsoft or somebody going to buy Crestron and then commoditize the whole lot of it? Or is it going to be something where these companies are going to have to get a running start and then they're going to have some breakthrough product, and then the entire thing hits the dirt?
Why do they need to buy AMX or Crestron? We already had, and this was what I don't know if it got me in trouble on Twitter, but this was what I was talking about on Twitter when Harman and AMX happened. Every press release that Harman put out, it was, we're looking forward to adding video to our line of fine audio products. Oh yeah, and control and automation. and we're integrating that with our existing control and automation stuff that we already have. And I think the commoditization is already happening on the home side.
Okay.
I mean, I can go to Walmart and buy the parts to automate significant portions of my home.
Okay.
And I don't have to have any programming. I don't have to have any of that stuff. And it all runs off my phone.
Don't talk to me about X10 either, but give me some.
Not X10.
I'd say I'm just as or more concerned about a company like Comcast. They sell me my cable, my internet, and they're trying to sell me my T-Stat controls and trying to get into automation by that route, and they're a huge company that's already in my home,
Well, isn't it Rogers Cable up in Canada is doing the exact same thing? Not very well, from what I understand, but it's at least trying to at least get into
start
the market
somewhere.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're going to come at it from that side. And why do you need to buy an existing infrastructure when you're already running? You've started at IP. You don't have to deal with IR. You don't have to deal with 232. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. It's all IP.
Okay, but hang on. Maybe you can call me a fanboy or whatever of control systems, and granted, that is what I do now. I mean, that's
that is true.
I'm the head of the head of a programming company, so that's but there are things that a control system, an automation system, can do that you simply cannot do yet. When it comes to automation and control, I mean, let's talk about feedback. Let's talk about I don't know. Just unless I'm completely naive.
Aim them.
Well, that's not fair. You asked me to.
Okay.
No, okay. So let's go through.
Let's go through the systems of your house.
All right.
You can control the temperature.
Yes.
Okay. You can't control if the phone starts ringing.
I'll let him get that. You can control the thermostat.
Can I just say
Yes.
I am so over flushing my toilet with my hand.
Oh,
If I could do that another way.
You could do that with a relay. See, there's one you could not do with lighting. There's another one, Harry.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Lighting. They've got bulbs that can talk now.
Okay.
Okay, so bulbs are on the network. That's taken care of.
No,
Your
I
locks
have to
are
have a timeout. What bulbs are on the network?
You can control bulbs with your Apple stuff right now. You can change colors. You can turn them on and off.
All right.
So the technology exists. It may not be widespread yet, but it exists. You can lock your house. You can secure your house.
All with this. That's where I'm getting. This is the one thing that Harry's going to take another phone call.
No.
This is the one thing that control systems do really well, and that is take all of these systems and put them into one, hopefully, if you do it correctly, simple to understand UI. What you're talking about, Harry, is great. Yes, you can do all these different things. You can talk to your freaking fridge if you want. But every time you want to do something, you have to open a different app, right? This is, and I said this before, this is the modern day equivalent of having 15 remote controls sitting next to your couch. And I didn't like it 20 years ago.
And what I'm saying is the bones are there. All the control can happen right now. Okay, so you come in as an Apple or as a Microsoft or as a Google, and you say, okay, from Braveheart, we're going to unite the clans. And this is what we're going to do, and all these things are already on the network. Let's talk to them all. And suddenly you've got a UI. And it doesn't have to be pretty and customizable for 80% of the population. It just has to work.
Saying all the bones are there, it just needs an integrator.
Yeah. I work for an integrator. That's what but what I'm saying is one of those three companies, or if Comcast is trying to do it or something like that, one of them is going to be the integrator.
No.
That's gonna talk to all these different things.
Okay, let's be honest here. All right, I don't know who you guys see, but Phil has Comcast. I have Charter in St. Louis, at least for my internet. I don't have them for TV because they stink. But they do not have a good track record of, how do I put this gently, doing things well.
I only threw Comcast in there because they've been making noise about it.
I know. I'm just saying. Historically, cable companies have not exactly been our friend, right? There are caps on there. Some people listening to this and watching this have caps on their internet access. If you reach so many gigs a month, you have overages and this, that, and the other. I don't think that they can do this well, right? I mean, you're going to start running into, well, you turned your lights on one too many times this month, so we're going to charge you $10 extra a month. Or, you use this, that, and the other too many times this month, so we're going to do this, we're going to charge you extra for that. I don't want to be charged every time I turn on the light or every time that I, turn off my TV. And the fact that possibility exists is a little silly. I don't know.
Like I said, I don't think they'll do it well.
Oh.
At least on the Comcast front. But I think one of the big three will do it well.
And see, that's why it occurs to me, though, that they would purchase a company that is already doing it well.
Yeah.
Who's got a history of putting that type of streamlined product set together. Yeah.
All right.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say, I come from the much more ruthless side of I think they'll just dictate it.
Just do it themselves, yeah.
See, this is the difference between Phil and I are nice Midwesterners, and Harry's from the cutthroat area of the Mid-Atlantic. So
I have a dragon with a sword on my wall behind me.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. All right. One real quick before we take a slight break. A little bit of sad news, and the reason I bring this up is not to rub salt in the wound, but to ask you guys a serious question here. HiFi House, which is a big, significant Philly area home theater and automation company, apparently just flat out closed their doors this week, and it was a shock to pretty much everybody, including their customers, which who called up one day and said that HiFi House has ceased operations. End of message. So here's the question for you guys, and Harry, we'll start with you on this. Is this two questions, and you may or may not know these people, and have any inside information. But is this indicative of the environment? Isn't what we were just talking about with companies like Comcast and Charter getting into automation, or is it maybe just something else that none of us really know?
I think it's a combination. It's yes, you've got some of these companies that are peeling the low end off, but on the high end front, as much as it gets thrown about with rose perfume and everything else, the economy still pretty sucks. Yes, there are some bright spots, but there's a lot of heavy-duty indicators that are not bright, and there are still lots of badness going on, and the high-end home automation stuff is disposable income.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to have it
for high-end high-end people. So
yeah.
All right, Phil, is this something indicative of the economy, like Harry says, or something else going on here?
No, I agree. I think and hope it's just the economy. I mean, the unfortunate reality is that companies go belly up every day, and this time it just so happened to be one that is one that we would notice, and maybe talk a little bit more about. But I certainly don't think that it speaks to a larger issue within our industry.
Okay. That is good to know. All right, you guys take a break, get a drink of water. Harry, make another phone call if you need to. Yeah, he already muted himself, which is good. AVNation is brought to you by the fine folks at Middle Atlantic Products. I got an email this morning from Becky Duck, their chief person over there, and this is something you're going to see at InfoComm in about 2 weeks. First of all, a number of years ago, they came out with their credenza. This picture I'm showing you, if you're watching the video, that's a rack. Okay, those are racks. It looks like a piece of furniture. You open the doors there, and they're built-in racks. Gorgeous, gorgeous credenzas. Where they're releasing some new finishes. They have 4 different colors. It's honestly built around working with architects, because God love them. Sometimes they can be a little difficult, and also helping your interior designer feel better about putting a rack in the middle of a room, because sometimes that can cause interesting conversations as well. So yeah, check that out at middleatlantic.com. And also something else you're going to see at InfoComm 2014 is, let me show you this here real quick. They are getting into the display mount business. It's called the FlexView. You're going to see it at InfoComm 2014. It's a bunch of models of slim profile, very contemporary design. There's safety certification, all sorts of options. They have strength, and they're very, very small. It's going to fit most up to 90-inch screens with the VESA 800 mounting or smaller, obviously. So, again, check those out if you would, please, at middleatlantic.com. Middle Atlantic, what great systems are built on. So actually, I remember going to the Middle Atlantic booth about 3 years ago, I think, and I was like, "Holy cow!" with the credenzas. So, and actually, if you come by the AVNation booth at InfoComm, in booth number N217, we're going to have one of their fancy schmancy podiums as well. So, I got that in the mail this week, and I'm like, "Oh my, that's very heavy." So. All right, guys, this is from Gizmodo, a site we don't get to talk about very much because, most of the time it's cell phones and stuff. Intel wants to make your office entirely cable-free by 2016. And in case you've forgotten, that's 2 years from now. And here's what they're talking about. Intel's post-Broadwell chipsets they want to at least work towards this, where they're making everything wireless, the network access and your display. And the reason I brought this up and bring this to you, gentlemen, is the display part. They want to push 1080p. They want to push 4K. They want to push whatever resolution wirelessly. Wirelessly. Harry, is this even possible in 2 years? And if so, how stable is it going to be?
Those are two entirely different questions.
That's why I asked them separately.
I think it is probably possible.
Thank you.
And I think it is possible to get most of what they're talking about done. Short range wireless for displays, for
monitors. We're talking about not displays in the world that we all live in. When we talk about a display being an 80-inch, we're talking about monitors.
But networking is all but there if you've got the right access points. So yes, it's possible. Will it be expensive? Yeah, probably. Will people in my land of security accept it? Oh, hell no. So that's about it. I mean, yeah, for a lot of office situations, yeah, you might be able to get away with that. I'll be interested to see when they've got two, like I've got two monitors set up right now, and I'd be interested to see if two high-res streams going at the same time. What that's going to take, and if you can't do their wireless charging, how much power that's going to take.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't think about that. And also, having the two streams without some sort of weird interlacing thing happening between the two of them. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, Phil and Harry's
now you've got
are going to be
and so then you're doing this heavy duty wireless video stream. Now you have an office that has 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them. That's you've got a lot of wireless running around in there.
Mr. Phil Cordell, what do you say when it comes to wireless video?
Well, we were talking a lot about obviously Apple perhaps moving into the home, but stuff like this really is more concerning to me than that, because this is what we do. We install tons of laptop.
We just lost Phil. Interesting.
So we install tons of laptops and stations like that, and we have problems. We're not going to have problems if they start doing this in the conference rooms. And so now you've got an Intel-ready projector. Oh, he's back. Okay, never mind.
You have an Intel. Yes, you have an Intel-ready projector.
If you have an Intel-ready projector, why do you need us?
Phil would say because of integration. This is where we integrated again. I mean, here's the thing. I think you need us because I still don't think that IT guys are comfortable with this, right? I meet with a fair amount of IT companies and or IT groups who would just as soon hand off the keys to the AV system if there's a projector involved or if there's automation involved. There's something, doing anything beyond just hooking a computer up and making sure that it has, the monitor and keyboard. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
Oh, see, I've seen the opposite.
Really?
I see people internalizing this stuff all the time.
All right. Well,
I could see an IT department saying, "Okay, we don't need anybody. We can just I can hang a monitor on the wall that's Intel ready, and it's not going to sit on my it's not going to sit on my network because they're not going to run that kind of video over network. They're going to run it direct point to point. So the video doesn't bother me that it's wireless because it's not running on my network."
Makes sense.
So now all I need to do is do that, and then anybody who brings a laptop in can look for a monitor and connect to it.
Okay, then yeah, and it's for collaboration spaces. I can see that, like little huddle spaces. And yes, we're getting to the point where that's more and more becoming what people are putting in.
There's a lot of those, and if say you've got 4 displays in a room, why do you need a matrix switch at that point? Just send your laptop to 4 different the 4 displays in the room.
Well, I think that we've lost Mr. Cordell. Apparently, Nashville has used up all of its bandwidth for the month. So
They've been talking to the Canadians again?
they have been. So it's a rebel thing. I don't know. All right. Moving on. This one's from Engadget, and I brought this up because for a couple different reasons. First of all, the story is a new smartphone chip will be able to beam high-definition holograms by next year. And that means every geek in the galaxy is going to get a picture of Princess Leia and try to replicate.
Naked.
Not naked, just replicate the Star Wars piece where she's coming out of R2-D2's head. Two reasons. First of all, we have a couple different shows. One is a Pico projector show. And that's exactly what I thought of when I saw this piece, is the fact that, holy cow, you're going to have the ability from a cell phone, so ostensibly a Pico projector would do the same thing, to do holograms, which leads to the very next question. Okay, and Harry, I'm going to ask you this since you're the only one I have left. How soon until we have holographic projectors? If this is going to be ready by next year, how soon until we have full on, 10,000 lumen holographic projectors?
4 or 5 years.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
If this works on the small scale, then it's just scaling it. And it's how much power it's going to take. And if they make it work on a small scale, somebody's going to scale it up really quick. So, the short version.
Yes, thank you. No, moving on. All right. No, thank you. Okay. Countdown to InfoComm 2014. This is by a blog by our buddy Brock McGinnis, and Brock's a good guy, just in general. He's from Westbury National, up in good old Toronto, and he's talking about in the piece, what's the next big thing, right? What's coming down the pipe? What are we going to be hit with come InfoComm 2014 in 2 weeks? So Harry, I want to get your take, and then I'll give you my take on what we're going to be hit with. What is our next big thing in the world of AV?
I think we're going to stay with the collaboration theme, and we're going to look at your email, and then some more other things that are on your screen. We're going to stay with collaboration, and being able to work on the same document at the same time, have multiple people in there talking to each other, basically be able to replicate a face-to-face meeting with people who aren't face-to-face. Okay. So I think that's the biggest part of the show that I'm going for. And a lot of that is document collaboration, because that's not as prevalent right now. I mean, we're a Blue Jeans reseller, and they do face-to-face meetings really, really well, but they don't have the document collaboration yet. You can do desktop sharing, or you can do desktop showing. You can't do sharing. I don't think. Blue Jeans, hit me up if if I'm lying.
If you're incorrect.
I'm only the engineer, not the sales guy. But one thing that was in the article that I very much agreed with is that you got to hit the small booths.
Yep.
Because that's where the cool stuff is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, you've got your big behemoths that are trying to sell you stuff, but then you get back to the little guys, and not necessarily the Japanese LED manufacturers, but the the little bulbs, the guys that have 1,400 bulbs in their booth. But just different things. I mean, I've found different small manufacturers that really fill niches, and I've done that in the past.
I think one of the coolest little booths I've ever been to is it was a company that made the oddest but most useful drill bits. It allowed you to drill so far into a piece of wood or concrete or whatever, and then at some point do a 90-degree turn and go back up. So you could literally, drill, a 90-degree, turn in a block of wood. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, let's see here. Let's see what we got here. One last thing. What comes first? This is from our buddy Steve Greenblatt at Control Concepts. What comes first, system design or functionality? Mr. Harry Meade, what comes first, system design or functionality?
Functionality design has to follow functionality. You have to find out what the customer wants first, or what the customer's trying to do, before you can actually design a system in the background for it. When I go out on a site survey, I'm not interested in them telling me what they think they need. I'm interested in them telling me how they want to use the room. And I take my cues for design on how they want to use the room and design to make that functionality happen for them.
Okay, that makes sense. So, and I would agree with that. You have to figure out, one of the things that I try to at least live by is the fact that don't tell me the parts and pieces that you want, right? Don't tell me you want a 200,000 lumens projector, or you want a big 10-inch touchscreen. Tell me how you're going to use the space, right? Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you're trying to achieve, and then we can talk about all the cool technology and all the different things that we're going to do. So
yeah, because ostensibly I know more than, not you, but I know more than the end user does about the equipment that needs to go in this room to get that objective finished.
And no, you know more than me. let's be fair here. You know more than me.
I don't know. You got your DMCE before I did.
Of the two of us, which one of us is a CTSD?
Oh, I am.
Okay then.
I had to put it in my little 2/3 right there.
Yes, I saw that. I think you.
And I almost put like exclamation points on it to discuss.
Last but not least, and this is really not a story to talk about, unless Harry, you'd like to talk about your lovely wife, in positive ways, just for the record.
That limits me.
We're gonna. Jeez Louise, dude. We're going to put a link on the show notes of all the fine folks that have been through here, and obviously Miss AV Dawn is one of the main reasons that AVNation is so successful. She is teaching a class, so we're going to put a link to all the folks who have helped us out over the years in the classes they're teaching. So Dawn is teaching a class, Josh Shirago is teaching a class, so there are a couple of them that we'll put on. So if you have not signed up for a class yet for InfoComm and you have some extra time, please do so. Those are some valuable classes. Dawn is talking about social media again, which is something that she knows an incredible amount about. So yeah, please check those out if you would, please. That is all we're going to do it for right now. Because I may end up talking to myself because Harry may drop off here. So with this has been Phil Cordell, who apparently lost something internet connection wise. So we will thank him. You can find him at _AV_professional on Twitter. You can also check out his website, HiFi. Also with us is Harry Meade, CTSD, which stands for Damn Good Designer, and from CCS Mid-Atlantic. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Where can people find you and or CCS?
CCS is at ccsprojects.com. We are a nationwide company. I just happen to be the engineer for the Mid-Atlantic branch. The Twitter at Mr. AV Dawn, just because she made a name for herself, and I only use Twitter for about a month out of the year, June.
Imagine that.
So I use Twitter to keep all of my InfoComm stuff off of Facebook and keep people from killing me.
That's a good use of it, though. That's a good use of it. So, speaking of Twitter and internet and Twitter and InfoComm and this, that, and the other, please go by the website if you would, please. AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv. What does it have to do with Twitter and all this other Facebooky stuff? Well, some very nice folks have given us some really cool stuff, and we are having the AVNation AV Tweeps tweet up. The folks that have given us a whole lot of really cool stuff, Draper and Vadio are our platinum sponsors. Advanced AV, AMX, and Middle Atlantic Products are the gold. ASK Proxima, Audinate, AVI Systems, and Innovad are the silver, and then AV Helpdesk and Sennheiser are the bronze. They're the ones giving us some stuff to give away. So if you are coming to InfoComm 2014, the room number is N217. You go up the escalator and on the right-hand side. Between 4:30 and 6:30, please come by and say hey. You'll meet Harry. You'll meet Miss AV Dawn. You'll meet Matt Scott and George Tucker and a whole lot of other folks that have been on the show. Yes,
Matt Scott's beard needs its own Twitter.
Matt Scott's beard and his hair will be there. Matt, I told someone this last night. Matt is like 6'5" and George is 4 foot tall. So I'm going to just put the two of them together and have a nice little Laurel and Hardy moment. So George really isn't 4 foot. He's at least 4.5. But yeah, if you would please go by the website, check that out. Go by the website and check out our other shows if you would. Phil is actually on one of them called AV Apps. On a weekly basis, he and Matt Scott review different apps put on by AV companies. They've done Crestron, they've done AMX, they've done Projector Central's app, so check them out if you would please. All of these shows can be found on avnation.tv. All of our programs brought to you by the fine folks at Middle Atlantic Products. Middle Atlantic, what great systems are built on. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. It's all the time we have for AV Week.